Guys want to get ready? Is everybody ready? I know we got a lot going on this morning. Diane, you want to start off? Oh,
It's actually going to be me.
clerk of the board, you want to get us going?
Good morning. Today is Tuesday, March 21st. This is a regular meeting of the Kings County Board of Supervisors. Each vote today will be a verbal vote so that members of the public can hear how each board member has voted. After we have had a motion and a second regarding each item we are taking up today, there'll be a roll call vote by district. First order of business is roll call. Joe Nevs.
Here.
Richard Valley.
Here.
Doug Verboon.
Here.
Rusty Robinson.
Here.
Richard Fagundes.
Here.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. We have 5 members and a quorum, and we'll move forward. Today, the next item will be the invocation, and I'd like to invite Mr. Nate Ferrier to please lead us in the invocation. Thank you, sir, for doing this. Sir?
Voluntold. My pleasure.
For sure. Let us pray. Dear God, we come before you today with thanksgiving. We're thankful to live in a free country. We're thankful for the resources that we have available to us. And we're thankful for the leaders here in Kings County. But we also come with requests. Lord, we request wisdom as such important decisions are being made at this time with the flooding and all that is going on in our county. We pray for extra wisdom for our Board of Supervisors, our sheriff, Dominic, and so many more that are making key decisions for the safety of our citizens. And Lord, we're just grateful again for your blessings, for all you have bestowed upon us. Lord, I see that there are military people here. I ask you would protect them and you would guide them, and we're grateful for them as well. And these things we pray. Amen.
Thanks, sir. Madam Clerk, will you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Ready? Begin.
My pleasure.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands
One nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Okay, first order of business, one of the most important items on the agenda. We are going to recognize Women's History Month. Who's going to lead us through this item?
That would be me, Supervisor.
Marty.
Good morning, Curio Martinez, Administration. A resolution is presented to recognize women leaders in history. The annual observance of National Women's History Week was declared in a presidential proclamation by President Carter in 1980 and was declared a National Women's History Month by Congress in 1987. The annual observance of National Women's History Week was declared in recognition. Women's history takes a new look at all that has gone before and tells a story of a shared past from a different perspective, not rewriting history, but presenting and expanding a version of history that recognizes and honors the accomplishments of women. This year, staff requested each Board of Supervisors to nominate someone from the district to receive the recognition, as well as a few female aviators to come from the Naval Air Station in Lemoore. This year, we recognize women who are currently affecting the future through their commitment to public service and government leadership. Female NAS Lemoore pilots made history this year as the first all-female team to fly over the Super Bowl. It is also 50 years of women flying in the Navy, when the Navy selected the first 8 women for the training of Navy aviators in 1973. More than 4 decades have passed since Amelia Earhart has successfully became the first woman to complete a nonstop solo flight across the Atlantic Ocean. Next slide, please. Those nominated and receiving a recognition are as followed. If we can, once I call a name, if they can come to the bullpen in the front. So for Supervisor District Number 1, Supervisor Nevs nominated Lois Hubanks.
Come down.
Mrs. Lewis grew up in Denver, Colorado. She majored in physical education at Greeley College in Colorado, now known as Northern Colorado University. She was recruited to the beautiful San Joaquin Valley by a physical education teacher at Lemoore High School, where she taught for 34 years. Throughout her 34 years, she started the girls' gymnastics provision, coaching diving, and was head of her department. She was elected to the Lemoore High School board in 2002 and inducted into the Lemoore High School Hall of Fame in 2006. She is very active with all activities at Lemoore High School, and it is said that she bleeds purple and gold.
If you can stay in the well, Miss Eubanks, please.
You have to say.
Just come right down here, right here in front of the board members, if you would, please. Sure, where, Joe? Right there,
What about Joey?
right there. Yeah.
We're gonna stand, this time I can stand you in the corner.
Next, we have from District 2, Richard Valley, Lisa Shaw. Lisa was born in Visalia, California. She attended Joaquina Elementary School, where she was active in sports, participated in spelling bees, math contests, and speech contests. Lisa was in the student council, served as secretary and treasurer of her class. She graduated and went on to attend Tulare Western High School, where she played softball and heavily involved in art classes. Lisa was a 9-year member of Joaquina 4-H, winning several awards for cooking and art projects. Her artwork was selected to hang at the California State Capitol. She held office of president, vice president, secretary, treasurer, and sergeant of arms in Joaquina 4-H. She graduated from Tulare Western as one of the top 10 students. Lisa has been at the Corcoran Chamber of Commerce since 2006 and has a background in marketing. She attended Cal Poly San Luis Obispo and started her career in marketing and advertising at GPAX Communications. She is a longtime resident of Joaquina and lives with her husband, Jason, where they are active in Joaquina 4-H. Lisa is a member of the Visalia Christian Reformed Church and sat on the Congressional Life Team and is a member of the Corcoran Rotary, where she serves as secretary and bulletin editor, webmaster, and president-elect for 2024-2025. Lisa loves the close-knit community of Corcoran and the surrounding communities. Next, from District 3, Doug Verboon's district, we have Michelle Brown. Michelle Brown was born and raised in Hanford, and after spending time in San Diego and Nashville, she returned to Hanford to raise her 2 children. Michelle has worked for Main Street Hanford since 2006, became the executive director in 2018. Michelle, along with her staff and volunteers, are responsible for approximately 30 community events throughout the year. Events include Thursday night Marketplace, Hanford Blues and Roots Festival, Witches Night Out, and wine and chocolate tasting. It is Michelle's mission to continue to revitalize, support, and promote downtown Hanford and its unique businesses. Michelle's efforts to support businesses throughout the pandemic earned her award for the Citizen of the Year presented by the Hanford Chamber of Commerce. Ultimately, Michelle hopes that their efforts with Main Street Hanford would transform downtown Hanford into a destination and one of California's hidden gems. Next, from District 4, we have Pauline Hershey. Pauline is very honored to be selected by Supervisor Robinson for her communication and well leadership in team building and change in management. She is a communications chair. In 2004, she married her husband, and they have a blended family of 7, ranging from 41 down to sophomore in high school. She earned her Bachelor's of Fine Arts in Graphic Design from UCLA, and after college, she worked for a design firm and ultimately opening her own business in 1991 with a purchase of distressed print shop in Canoa Park. In the aftermath of recession, she chose to dive more into communications for good, working for cause of communication. Most recently, she was asked by District Governor Bruce Mackey to be the communications director for Rotary District 5, 5230, Kings, Tulare, Fresno, Monterey counties. She loves Rotary and believes that we aspire to live by Rotarian principles, and there's nothing we cannot accomplish together. Peace out. For District 5, we have Parveen Sandhu. She couldn't make it today, but we do have some flowers that we'll deliver to her today. So Parveen was born in Yuba City, California, raised in Lodi. She attended California State University, Sacramento with a Bachelor of Science degree in Criminal Justice in 2005. She was first to graduate from college in her family. She is currently pursuing a master's degree in leadership and management and will graduate later this year. During her professional career, she has worked with USDA, private circuit board companies, Tulare County, and now is executive director of Kings Waste and Recycling Authority. Ms. Sandhu currently resides in Selma, where she is very active in her community. She is on the City of Selma Planning Commission and president of the Second Chance Animal Shelter of Selma. Next, I'm going to present the female aviators from.
Kara, how about we do this? Let's get the picture
Okay.
with the district reps, and then that way we'll have room for the next.
Perfect.
Next section. So how about we stand up behind them and we center the ladies here for the photo?
All the photographers get centered.
And if you don't mind, just stay there for a second, because I want to invite each board member, if they want to say something very, very briefly about the representative, feel free to. Sue Robinson, you got anything you want to? Oh, yeah. Say.
So for me, this is a true pleasure and honor to recognize Pauline. Literally, I've worked with Pauline since I think she got here in about 1993, and I've worked with her since about 1994. So and along that path, we've served in various capacities, but we both served together at Main Street, and thanks to the work that Pauline did there, we've been able to pave the way for, well, now you. Thank you very much. Now Michelle. So thank you for all of that. But just to give you some context, I waited just to be able to ask her if she would be willing to do this. I waited for 2 Rotary meetings for her to complete. So that shows you how active she continues to be. So thank you, Pauline.
Thank you. Sue Verboon?
Yeah, so Michelle's very active in downtown Hanford. A lot of us, we have issues in our communities, and we work hard. We have family and stuff, but Michelle's activities bring the people together. Thursday Night Marketplace bring people together. It puts people in a situation they wouldn't generally have to do. You got the taco truck throwdown. You got the car shows in the park. You got it. She utilizes downtown Hanford what it's meant to be. And it's great to take a day out of your life, your busy schedule, and come downtown Hanford and enjoy what she promotes. So thank you, Michelle. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Sue Verboon. Supervisor Neves?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mrs. Eubanks was also elected to the Lemoore High School Board of Trustees and has helped out the Kings County School Boards Association. Spent over 50 years educating. Upon her retirement from Lemoore High School, she continues to educate students around the county on different campuses, serving as a substitute teacher. And she's part of the Lemoore High School Hall of Fame in 2006. Just an outstanding lady. She always used to pick on me in high school, but I don't know why it was ever happened. It's hard to believe, huh, Jesus? But I know there are several ladies here today that she has coached and helped. And so thank you.
All right. Supervisor Figueroa, anything on that?
Well, she's not here, but I'd like to honor her in a way that she's very busy. But on the other hand, she's runs the KWRA so professionally. We put her in that role and she stepped up and ran with it very professional. And I just like to honor her for that.
Thank you. Good. Congratulations to all the women and their families who are here today. We know it's wet out there. We appreciate everyone taking the time to come in and drive safe. And just for Lisa Shaw here, she doesn't even live in Corcoran. She lives in Waukena, but she's an official Corcoranite because
Different between.
you could.
Corcoran was a sub.
Yes, sir.
sub-
Well, you can't tell it because she's so passionate about the city of Corcoran. She's there all day. They know where to find her in downtown Corcoran in her office. You heard the bio, and that's only a quarter of what she does. I mean, what she does for veterans, what she does for the community. Every year, she does a Man and Woman of the Year awards dinner, and anyone who's been to that in Corcoran, that's a 5-star event. And so that's why it was important that she got recognized today, because she spends a large part of the year recognizing others, and we really appreciate it. Right, Madam Mayor? I see the Mayor of Corcoran, Pat Nolan's in the back. This lady is Corcoran, am I right? So thank you, Lisa Shaw. And for the pilots, her husband in the back, raise your hand, sir. That's an AO right there. So he's a good man right there, too. So thank you, Lisa. Thank you to everybody. Congratulations to their families. Can we do that one more time and go live on Facebook? No, I'm fine.
So at this time, I'm going to continue the presentation for Women's History Month. We are going to recognize 4 individuals. When I call your name, if you could please come to the front. So from Lemoore Female Aviators, we have Lieutenant Martinez. Her rank is lieutenant. She has total flight hours of 1,200. She is squadron VFA 122. Her hometown is in Springfield, Virginia. She went to high school in Thomas Jefferson and College of University of Notre Dame. She has a major in science business. Her favorite NFL team is Denver Broncos. Her hobbies are soccer, basketball, running, playing with their dog, and watching UND sports. She states that the coolest part about being in the Navy is she grew up with the Navy family, saw friendships her parents fostered throughout her dad's year in the service. Being able to do the same as an adult has made her time in the Navy worth it. The flying is amazing and the people are even better. She recently deployed to NOV-19 June 20th with CVW-1 on USS Truman. Next, we have Lieutenant Taylor Rudolph. Her rank is lieutenant. She flies in the aircraft FA-18F. She has total flight hours of 50. Her hometown is Memphis, Tennessee. She went to high school at St. Benedict at Urbandale and attended the University of Alabama Med School, VCOM, Carolinas. Her major was in biology. Favorite team is the Tennessee Titans. She enjoys hiking at many national parks as she can, traveling the country with her husband and watching Alabama football. The coolest part about being in the Navy for her is as a flight surgeon, she has the opportunity to receive unique medical training and preparation for various environments. Flying the F-18 and integrating into an aviation squadron is such an amazing experience for her that she would never have had as a civilian. Our aviators are some of the hardest working and most selfless people that she has met, and it has been such an honor to get to know them and be part of their careers. The people that she has met, including her husband, have been the best aspect of her life in the Navy, and she will cherish those friendships for the rest of her life. Next, we have Lieutenant Ariel Ash.
She's on watch right now.
Okay, okay. So Ariel's major is, she is from Abilene, Texas. She attended Texas Tech University with a major in public relations. Her favorite NFL team is the Texas Ranger and enjoys hiking, camping, and snowing. Her coolest part about being in the Navy is flying the FA-18 is definitely the coolest part about being in the Navy. Getting to fly with some of the coolest friends she has is awesome. Next, we have Lieutenant Sari Moreno. Her rank is lieutenant. She has a total flight hours of 1,200. Her hometown is Tampa, Florida. She attended the United States Naval Academy, majoring in general engineering. Her favorite NFL team is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. She enjoys reading, soccer, weightlifting, and the coolest part about being in the Navy is flying. She says the coolest part of our flying is part of the Navy. We as aviators forget how unique our job actually is, and being in the sky has always reminded us of how incredible that is. Her recently deployed was to APR 19, January 20th with CVW 7 on USS Abraham Lincoln. The tenacity of each honoree underlines the fact that women from all backgrounds and all levels of public service and government are essential to continuing work on forming more perfect union. Staff requests the board to adopt a resolution recognizing March 2023 as Women's History Month in Kings County. Oh,
Yes.
so we're going to get recognition for them on the next one. Yes.
Okay.
Different
So,
photo op.
Yes.
so
Nice.
does anyone want to take up the motion and pass the resolution?
Stand by.
Is that, we have any comments from any of the board members?
For item just.
The movement, Chair.
Second.
Motion by Neves and a second by Verboen. Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Joe Nevs.
Yes.
Richard Valley.
Aye.
Doug Verboen.
Yes.
Rusty Robinson.
Yes.
Richard Fagundes.
Yes.
Thank you. Item passes 5 in favor, recognizing March 2023 as Women's History Month in Kings County. And also, we just want to say thank you to the pilots. That's had to be, well, it was an historic moment, but it had to be very exciting as you flew over the Super Bowl and made history, and everyone back home was so proud. And Kings County, with its relationship with NAS Lemoore, I'm sure you know there's a lot of veterans that are not only county employees, but that live and raise their families here in Kings County. And so we have a tremendous amount of respect for you. And I have a special message from some folks in Memphis for Lieutenant Rudolph. So a lot of folks in the room know that right now we have a $1 million Veterans Memorial, beautiful, huge Veterans Memorial that's being commissioned in Memphis. Okay, and it's been being worked on for the last 2 years. And on Saturday, April 29th, we're going to unveil this memorial, and its home is in Corcoran, but it's the memorials for everybody. So the artists who are doing it's Paul West and Tyler French. And this morning they called me. They said to thank you for representing the grit and grind of Memphis. So we appreciate you and your work as a flight surgeon. We appreciate all the pilots here this morning. And yes, please bring your flight crews up.
Item.
We have
Mr. Chairman, if I might.
For that.
for that?
Yeah.
Okay, so if it's okay, can we get a photo and the board will stand up? Does anyone got any comments? Anyone do?
No, thank you.
Jesus, can you make my hair a little darker? Make my hair a little bit darker.
And I know they won't like it because they don't ask for it, but please, we stand up and join us in it. Thank you, ma'am. All right. So how do you want to do this, Kara?
Scott, I think.
Okay, Scott.
Actually, yeah.
Mr. Chairman, just kind of under unscheduled comments and to go along with what the lieutenants were saying up here. And I know we plan to recognize them, but I want to make extra emphasis on the fact that these folks just don't go out and jump in a cockpit by themselves and go out and fly an airplane and bring it back. They don't do all the maintenance on it. They don't do the administration. They don't make sure that all the checks and balances are done. Part of that they do, they come back and write probably more gripes than what the AZs and what maintenance control would like to see them do. But I can't let this opportunity go by as a retired sailor and actually retired command master chief from VFA 122. Would like to recognize the folks that are back here. I know we're going to do that in a second. But many times when the media shows up out at the base and they show the flyovers when the squadrons are coming back from deployments. It's really neat and it's cool and we like to support that. But the people that kind of end up back in the shadows, but are the people that really make that happen, are the people like the folks that are standing up against the wall over here. And so I just want to make sure that we emphasize the fact that they're the support and the folks that get out there and make things happen every day in order to be able to support aviators so they can get out and put ordnance on target on time. Yes.
Thank you for those comments, Scott. And also, let's take the time. Look, no pressure, but we knew you guys just flew the Super Bowl. But about a month ago, Scott has been working with the Navy Chain of Command. We put in a flyover request for that beautiful morning that we unveiled that monument in Corcoran. And this morning, we learned that it was approved by the Navy Office of Community Outreach, authorized by the Chief of Naval Info. And we know it still has to work its way down the chain of command. But we would be honored if the Flying Eagles end up being the ones flying over that memorial that day when we unveil. So we just wanted to put that out there. No pressure. No pressure. Stat, gentlemen, please come down and join, and let's get the picture.
Tonight, also with the next agenda item, they'll all be recognized.
Okay. So do you want to do the photo now, Madam Clerk?
Have them in the well.
Okay. Let's see the photo.
So the Naval Air Station Lemoore Base Strike Fighter Squadron 122 is presented with recognition in conjunction with the recognition of Women's History Month in Kings County to highlight their excellence in aviation operation and support to the community. Scott will go ahead and announce the certificates and he'll present them to you this morning.
Hopefully we have a certificate. Is this for? Hopefully we have a certificate for everyone. I'm pretty sure that we do. And I think we have certificates that you all can take back with you. To your other shipmates if they're not here. So the first three that I have, then I'll come back and get more. Actually, I was getting down right there for Lieutenant Taylor Rudolph. Where's what's Taylor? There you are. Martinez. Number 5 here. Feel like it's Skipper's secretary. Yeah. Yes, you'll bet you. Chief Frey, is it Frey? Frank Fry?
Set you up.
There you go. I should have read the whole thing. Aviation Instructor Mechanic Safety Equipment, otherwise known as AME2. Master Sharp. Master Sharp here? Master Sharp is not here. I'll let you go. 82 rifles. 82. Slightly. Aviation Machinist Mate second class, 82. Castillo. Aviation Structural Mechanic, otherwise known as an AM, Petty Officer second class, Montiel. All those time. Don't accept on her behalf. I will.
Ah.
Yeah, imagine that. All right, AV Aircrew Survival Equipment and second class Toscano.
Hey.
Aviation, I got it this time. Electricians pay 35 minutes for Pringle. By the rain.
Yeah.
AM2 Wedemeyer. And AM3 Professor Scott. And aviation electricians made AE. Professor third class change. No production change. See how the flight schedule? Supported me. What?
Rain delay.
Got some water.
Yeah.
That's where the orderlies at.
Oh.
They're doing work right now.
Ah.
There's things on the corner with their coloring.
Oh.
You guys, thank you so much. We know you're busy. God bless America. God bless.
And if you could stay in the well so he can get behind you and we can all take photo.
No, this take all the time you need.
Go, give me a smile, buddy. All right. One left one here.
No candy canes, they do.
Thank you.
Thank you for your service. Thank you for your service. Thank you all for your service. Thank you. Thank you all for your service.
All right, Carrie, you going down one more time?
Yes, so
Next
this was
up.
the recognition, so no board action is requested at the moment.
Thank you.
So am I. We're awful, but. Okay.
I have to apologize. I should have.
Thanks. That's our next one.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Really going better than
yeah, very good.
Yes, ma'am.
Board members, Curia Martinez, administration, and one last item this morning before we start. This morning, we have Captain Douglas Peterson, who will officially introduce himself. And unfortunately, the incoming commanding officer, Captain Shaw O'Connor, is not here today, but he will provide the board updates on various plans and activities for NSA Lemoore that may impact Kings County in the near future.
Okay, if we could bring some order back. Good morning, sir. Welcome to the Chambers of the Kings County Board of Supervisors. The floor is yours. We're happy to and honored to have you here, sir.
Good morning, Chairman. Thank you very much. I have a bunch of slides that we sent up, but really, I'm just going to cover it very briefly. I appreciate the chance to address the board. So it's been a little bit of time on us and didn't offer this opportunity. Really great chance to come and chat with you all in this. So little bit about Naval Air Station more. We can go to the next slide.
Next slide.
So we are like a ship in the Navy's military. We are a place to contain and support the tenant units that are there. We have A-122 with one of 18 squadrons and a variety of lieutenants who use the base to operate out of. We provide a runway. We provide security and fire services. We take care of the families. That is what the base does. And that is what I try to do. So I'm always trying to provide security and safety, service to the fleet, the fighter, and the family, and make sure that we maintain our infrastructure. Next slide. As you can see, we're mostly in Kings County. We don't talk about that little bit in Fresno County too much. Off to the left is a depiction of the airspace that is immediately overhead Kings County and the air base that was founded about 15 years ago. It's called a military operating area. It provides a chance to fly directly overhead, which saves a lot of gas and provides good training for the students that the instructors take up on a daily basis. As you can see, the numbers you know about the locale, we as a base count ourselves, we have 10,000 people that work on the base, about 7,000 military and about 3,000 civilian employees. And then we bring along attendant dependents that live either on or off base. We have 1,630 houses on base, and then quite a few dependents who live in the towns of Hanford and Lemoore and a few other places. I, for one, am the oddball. I live in Fresno, or did until this tour. But most folks live in Hanford and Lemoore. And then we have 2,200 barracks rooms on the base as well. So single sailors, young sailors living on base. Think not the nicest college dormitory. Next slide, please. Okay, so we're about 20,000 acres, of which 10,000 is farmland that we lease out. All of that dark green is federal property, and the dark green itself are mostly the ag parcels that when we were created in 1961, was part of what the government bought to create a buffer zone so that we keep our noisy aircraft as far from folks as possible. But what we really appreciate about the Central Valley is that our noisy aircraft are so well appreciated here. Yeah. And I want to thank you right now for all the support that the county and the citizens of this county have provided the base over time. And as a token of that, thanks, I brought along this painting I had commissioned. It's a picture of the two aircraft at Naval Air Station Lemoore. On the back is a aviation map, and you can see right underneath here is Lemoore, and you go by air station, there's Hanford. And then a couple of things from the Central Valley. So the sequoias, farming, Yosemite, and then Lemoore. So I just wanted to thank you and the citizens and the board for all your support. Thank you very much. Thank you. I just want to say, again, this got the board supervisors again. So we really appreciate having the base. That jet noise is, as we know, that's sound of freedom. We appreciate that. And there's a form of rain to serve on the rain for our ships and for our base post. We're seeing the base post counties.
Yeah.
I think speaking for all of us. Thank you, sir. Recognizing our 100 years of service and working side by side with you. Thank you very much. Okay, a couple of other key statistics I wanted to point out. So plant replacement value, what it would take the government to replace everything on Naval Air Station Lemoore. We did a recent tally of it. It's about $4.1 billion in government buildings and then another $1.8 billion in houses for a total of just under $6 billion worth of stuff. So that's a lot of government investment that, like you said, Supervisor, we intend to keep. Yes, sir. Next slide. I already covered the workforce. Next slide. So I mentioned a bit about how the base works. We have a lot of tenants on the base. VFA 122 is my favorite because they fly me on a regular basis. But we have a few others. We have 18 squadrons, of which 2 are fleet replacement squadrons. So 122, which teaches new aviators how to fly the F-18, and VFA 125, which teaches new aviators how to fly the F-35. And then 16 fleet squadrons, which you see across the bottom. Those are the squadrons that will pick up and go off on the carrier to do the Navy's business and the nation's business. On the left, you have some kind of man-trained equipment command. So we call them administrative control. So the 2 wings, which provide people and things to the squadrons. Fleet Readiness Center, which is an intermediate level maintenance facility, and then the clinic. And then in the middle, the 4 triangles are carrier air wings. Those are staffs that are in operational control of the squadrons when they go to the carrier. And because the F-18s are the bulk of a carrier air wing, those staffs are located here. We have 2 carrier air wings to which our squadrons go that are on the East Coast. Those are not located here. And that is kind of the bulk of those 7,000 military members right there. Next slide. So growth. The bumper sticker here is the personnel growth has occurred at Lemoore, and that occurred over the past 5 or 6 years as the F-35 came online. And over the near future, as more F-35 planes come to the base, they will become an F-18 squadron. So, or an F-18 squadron will become an F-35 squadron. So there won't be any real growth there, just a change. Most of the growth occurred already to take care of the infrastructure needed for the F-35. But what we do see a lot of growth going on is in spending. We've spent, you can see there, about $400 million just in the last 5 years on buildings. We are completing a hangar, and we're about to break ground in a year on another hangar. We've done electrical upgrades, simulator upgrades, a lot of stuff. Our water plant's currently being upgraded at the cost of about $20 million. So the government's been spending a lot of money on the infrastructure at Lemoore. Economic impacts, I would be remiss if I didn't mention that we did an economic impact study in 2019, and we are about $970 million per year. So just under $1 billion to Kings County. We're number 2 to Derry, and we're catching up. We're doing a new economic impact study right now. It'll be ready in about a year, and I'm willing to bet we might catch Derry. I always remind Representative Valdez about that. Okay, so our end state, what's going to change, like I said, is some of the F-18 squadrons will become F-35 squadrons, but the total number will stay the same. And then we also have a search and rescue unit, which actually is on tap right now for Tulare County for whatever might be needed. It's a useful asset that I know our local friends in the Sheriff's Department are happy we have, and I certainly am as well. Next slide. We already covered this. Next slide. So getting to and from the base is neck down by some narrow places, Grangeville and 198, Grangeville being the narrowest. And of course, all the people who work on the base primarily do it up at what we call the op side, so the runway chunk of the base. Right now, we only have one way in and out. It's to the south. We're hoping that in the near future, we might either increase the size of that southern entryway or add on a northern gate to allow people to get in a little more efficiently. And you can see a chunk of that is on government land, and then a chunk of that, which is Dickinson, would be improving a right-of-way in between kind of ag plots that are off government property. Next slide. So water, important to Kings County, important to us. We get our water straight from the canal to the west. We have our own municipal water plant. We're not connected to any municipal sources. So we treat all of our water. And then we have been fenced off for our municipal water, which is good, but we provide agricultural water to the plots. And like everybody else, it's been at low allocations until this month. And what does that mean for us? Well, that ag land was initially created as a buffer for the base, but it provides a second and very important role for the base, which is tilled cropland keeps down bird strikes. So aircraft hit large birds and costs money, time for the Navy, and potentially safety. You know, it could hurt or kill somebody. And when you till land, you don't have critters. When you don't have critters, you don't have the raptors, which is our goal with the ag land. And that's why we are very concerned with making sure that we continue to have at least a bare minimum of water for our ag plots. And we've been working with local representatives, and we're now working with
Speaker McCarthy's office to see if we can't come with some goal. It may be that the ag land gets translated into something else, like solar farms, that meets our needs, which is keeps the space and keeps down the critters, but doesn't use water. That might be a mid to long-term solution. But for right now, it is farmland, and we need to try to work together to find a solution for that. Next slide. And this is just kind of a chart. You can see when the blue bars are low water, the black line is up. That's where we're hitting birds. Next slide. We can go on to the next slide. And that's the ugly stuff that a plane can have happen to it from a bird, which we try to avoid. Next slide. We have a small environmental department. We have some environmental things we have to work through. Burrowing owls find their place on the base. I like the burrowing owls for the sake of housing area because they keep the ground squirrels down, but not so much around the runway. So we have to manage their life, and we do that a bit. We have had some ability to relocate them from away from the runway into areas where they can find and feast on the ground squirrels that are digging holes around our houses. But our environmental program is generally pretty successful, and I'm very happy with it. Next slide. So I mentioned the buffer zone. You can see the yellow is the federal property. The kind of bubble around it is our area of most concern for where we create the most noise. We want to make sure that we have the best buffer. And then the outer kind of black line is an area of lesser but still concern for us to make sure that we have compatible development, which we generally do, and we're very happy with it. And we thank you for all the support in that. Next slide. A little more of the same. This is kind of the noise contours. What you can see there is the middle right over the runway is where we're the noisiest. And then there's kind of two rectangles. They look like C's actually on either side. And that's where the planes fly when there's bad weather like today or at night. And we're flying a radar approach corridor that's a larger kind of rectangle outside of the bounds of the base. And that's kind of where we focus on making sure that our noise is compatible with the locale. Next slide. So in summation, I just wanted to say again, really appreciate Kings County for its support. You could not find a better place to be, to fly, for the Navy to operate. I have been here since 1999 with the exception of about 5 years. I love being here. My kids have been raised here. We call it home. Sadly, I'm about to leave it. My change of command will be the second Friday in May. And Captain Sean O'Connor, who's off meeting with the Admiral right now, will be taking over. And he also has lived here for nearly as long, and he thinks of this as his home as well. We do so because we love this place so much, and we wanted to thank you for that. So I hope you'll excuse myself and the sailors and aviators. We'll have to go off to the tyranny of the flight schedule, but I really appreciate this time to talk to you. So thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
This concludes our presentation. It was only recognition, so no board action is requested at this time.
No board action on that one, right? Okay. Thank you. That was a beautiful moment there. We're glad to have had that. That will take us now to unscheduled appearances. Anyone may directly address the board at this time on any item on the agenda, any other items of interest to the public. That is within the subject matter jurisdiction of the board. Do you have anyone, Madam
I
Clerk?
have no written correspondence, but I do have a speaker card from Katie Arnst.
All right. Good morning, Katie. Good morning.
Last winter, your board approved an extension of what they call the and I wanted to update you that in this fiscal year so far, they have served 713 children here in our community, which is more than double what we have served out. We've also, and they've also received some very positive comments and remarks from the community. So to make. One of them, Daryl and Ryan are committed to my son's health. I'm grateful for the brain filter and then also very friendly staff. I always feel that it's being listened to and heard. I will share your board approved an agreement. Last week. And providing support groups for school year. Speaking of school, I jumped ahead for our I'm starting schools here in the university. I was growing as a thing. I started to school as a kiddo that was like 2 lastly, I wanted to share with you the department will be using back here more to request agreements so that you can agreements to bring your board approve the department impact. One, the mental health. And that will.
We're having some audio issues. We're trying to fix those.
Thank you. And that will be expanding behavioral health screening and access to school-based mental health here throughout Kings County. And that's for all kiddos, not only for kiddos who are more our target population, which would be children that have Medi-Cal or no insurance, but this is for all kiddos, including private health insurance. And then also we'll be coming back to you for an agreement to create a initial pilot program for children's mobile crisis. And that will be a mobile crisis response to all schools here in Kings County during the school day, in addition to responses to child welfare services. So sorry, it was a lot to share, but we're really excited and proud of all of the work supporting our children and youth here in Kings County and wanted to bring that to your attention. Thank you.
Thank you. That's important work. Thanks for sharing that.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Madam Clerk?
That's all the speaker cards that I have, and it doesn't appear that anyone online has their hands raised.
Okay. Anyone in the chambers want to make an unscheduled appearance? Going once, twice? Okay, let's move forward. That'll take us next to approval of the minutes. Item A, report out of closed session from the regular meeting for March 14th, 2023.
The Kings County Board of Supervisors received a claim for damages filed by Perla Trejo on March 14th, 2023. The Board of Supervisors rejected Ms. Trejo's claim upon the vote of Supervisors Nebbs, Verboen, and Robinson, with Supervisors Fagundes and Valley abstaining.
Okay, thank you. Can I Chair entertain a motion?
I'll move. Second.
Motion by Fagundes, second by Verboen.
Joe Nevs,
Yes.
Richard Valley,
Aye.
Doug Verboen,
Yes.
Rusty Robinson,
Yes.
Richard Fagundes.
Yes.
Item passes 5 in favor. Item B is report out of closed session from the special meeting for March 16th, 2023. Council?
Yes, if I may actually report out on the special meetings for March 16th, 7th, and 18th at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
On March 16th, 17th, and 18th, the Board of Supervisors met in closed session pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.5 to receive information concerning the declared state of emergency in Kings County due to flood. On March 16th and March 18th, following these discussions, the Board of Supervisors issued orders regulating flood flows in Kings County. Copies of these orders and the minutes of these meetings have been posted and broadly disseminated as required by law.
That's all you have to say on that?
Yep.
Okay. And so the agenda just states special meetings for 16th and 17th. So do you need an amendment in the motion to include the special meeting is Saturday, March 18th?
I don't think it's necessary to do that. I don't think a reporting out, it has to be a agendized item. It is an obligation of the prior meeting that took place.
So we're just going to go ahead and for the special meetings of the 16th and the 17th then?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we didn't make any changes from Friday. Okay. I'll make a motion to approve it, accept this, motion to accept as presented.
Motion by Verboen. Second by Fagundes. Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Joe Nevs,
Yes.
Richard Valley,
Aye.
Doug Verboen,
Yes.
Rusty Robinson,
Yes.
Richard Fagundes.
Yes.
Okay. Approval takes us to item D. Let's take up, if it's okay, let's take up all three, which is approval of the minutes for the regular meeting for March 14th and approval of the minutes for the special meeting for the 16th and approval of the minutes for the special meeting of March 17th, 2023.
I'll make a motion to approve as presented.
I'll second.
Motion by Verboen, second by Robinson. Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Joe Nevs,
Yes.
Richard Valley,
Aye.
Doug Verboen,
Yes.
Rusty Robinson,
Yes.
Richard Fagundes.
Yes.
Item passes 5 in favor. On the consent calendar, we'll note that item B1 is being pulled from the consent calendar until next week. So with that modification, the chair will entertain a motion. There's no questions or comments.
As amended. Second.
Motion by Fagundes, second by Nevs. Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Joe Nevs,
Yes.
Richard Valley,
Aye.
Doug Verboen,
Yes.
Rusty Robinson,
Yes.
Richard Fagundes.
Thank you. Item passes 5 in favor. Takes us to the regular agenda items. Item A comes from the Public Health Department. Who will be presenting? Hi, good morning, Heather.
Good morning, Chairman, members of the board. Heather Silva with Public Health. I actually want to call up our supervising public health nurse, Monicela Castellanos, to do the proclamation for World TB Day.
Morning.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Marcela Castellanos, Public Health. I'm happy to stand before you today representing our communicable disease program in the Public Health Department and to announce March 24th as World TB Day. TB disease is an illness caused by bacteria, Mycobacterium tuberculosis, that usually affects the lungs and spreads through the air when a person that is sick with TB coughs. Not everyone infected with TB bacteria becomes sick. There are two types of TB conditions that exist: latent TB infection and TB disease. People with LTBI, or latent TB infection, do not feel sick, are not symptomatic, and it cannot spread bacteria to others. In fact, many LTBI clients never develop TB disease. The TB bacteria can remain inactive for a lifetime without causing the disease. However, TB is very opportunistic. For those with weak immune systems, the bacteria may become active, multiply, and cause TB disease. The treatment for LTBI can consist of taking one medication daily for 4 months or 120 doses. People with TB disease have TB bacteria that's become active if the body's immune system cannot stop it from growing. Clients will feel sick, experience symptoms, which can include coughing, weight loss, loss of appetite, fever, chills, night sweats, coughing up blood, or sputum. The client is contagious to those around them. The treatment can consist of 5 types of medication daily for 6 to 9 months. In 2022, 1,843 new TB cases were reported. This was an increase from 1,750 cases reported in 2021. TB kills more than 200 Californians unnecessarily each year. Our goal at the health department is to serve the community by providing TB testing and treatment when necessary, but more importantly, by continuing to serve as a consultant to community providers and updating them with the latest testing and treatment guidelines to help ensure prompt and proper treatment so that one day we can eradicate this disease. The Kings County Department of Public Health Communicable Disease Program is asking the board today to adopt a resolution proclaiming March 24th as World TB Day in Kings County. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the information, the presentation. Any questions or comments from the board?
I'll make a motion to approve as presented. Thank you.
Thank you.
Motion by Verboen,
5 seconds.
second by Nevs. Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Joe Nevs,
Yes.
Richard Valley,
Aye.
Doug Verboen,
Yes.
Rusty Robinson,
Yes.
Richard Fagundes.
Yes.
Item passes 5 in favor. Thank you. Next item B comes from Public Works Department. Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Natalie Brinson, Parks and Grounds Superintendent. Thank you for having me here today. I am here today to speak to you about waiving of park entrance fees for our Kings County parks. And as you all know, the COVID-19 pandemic brought with it many challenges as well as many opportunities. It was my good fortune that my predecessor, Mr. Tim Shears, recognized one of those opportunities for our park system. And before I explain what that is, I'd like to set the stage with the background on what our regular park season looks like. Next slide, please. A typical weekend day during our park season has 2 staff members on site at each park, those being the park caretaker and a park aide whom is part-time. Full-time employees have handled all money at the gate in the past, which has left an unskilled worker to do the general labor. In the past, Parks and Grounds has had up to 3 staff members at the parks, those being 1 full-time employee and 2 part-time employees. Unfortunately, our park aide positions now often go unfilled. And if they are filled, they are designated a set number of hours, so they may cap out during the season. Additionally, Parks and Grounds often uses work in lieu of offenders to aid in general labor. On a busy weekend, these individuals will go unsupervised if the full-time employee is in the gate. Staff expressed to me many concerns about having as many as 6 offenders unsupervised on site around county resources as well as our park caretaker residences. Over the last 15 years, our Parks Division full-time employees have dropped from 12 employees to 9, and additionally, our alternative workforce has decreased by 50%. Fortunately, as I said, this did pose an opportunity. We learned through the COVID-19 closure that we can better use our county resources by redirecting our full-time employee, allowing them to do what they do best, pulling them out of that gatehouse and allowing them to do skilled labor. Upon looking at this opportunity, I was posed with asking what happens at our entrance gate. What does that interaction look like with our guest? So generally, that interaction is primarily for the exchange of revenue. When park guests arrive, our staff interface with them at their site to provide trash bags, answer questions, and inquire about their needs. So additional interaction happens at their site. When the guest comes in to pay at the gate, it's primarily just an exchange of revenue. Staff expressed that they already have much better interaction with our guests at the site than they do when the guests arrive and pay their entrance fee. Next slide, please. Our gate revenue totals about $22,000. The bulk of this revenue is made actually on Easter weekend, around $10,000. A full-time staff member earns a salary of $60,000 to $70,000 annually. And removing gate fees would allow 2 full-time employees to continue with skilled work inside the park. So in short, to reap the same benefit, the cost of removing gate fees is around $20,000, while the cost of 2 new full-time employees would be around $120,000. And next slide. To summarize, removing park gate fees will allow for an increased opportunity for maintenance and labor without additional expense and serve as a better use of our county resources. Additionally, removing our entrance fees will promote county relationships with citizens, allowing for additional and perhaps even underprivileged individuals to recreate safely. I'd be happy to take any questions.
Thank you. Appreciate the presentation. Any questions or comments from the board? Okay.
I'll move for approval. Nev seconds.
Motion by Fagundes, second by Nez. Madam Clerk.
Joe Nevs,
Yes.
Richard Valley, Doug Verboon,
Yes.
Rusty Robinson,
Yes.
Richard Fagundes.
Yes.
Item passes 5 in favor. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good work. Item C comes from administration. Mr. Hill, Carrie.
I'll be taking this item. Good morning, board members again. Curia Martinez, administration. So Santa Rosa Rancheria Tachi Yokut tribe operates the Palace Indian Gaming Facility in Kings County. In 2020, the county worked with the tribal council on development of an intergovernmental agreement to compensate Kings County in order to provide mitigation measures for any potential effect on the off-reservation environment. The intergovernmental agreement has been in effect since its ratification. However, an amendment is proposed today as there has been a delay on construction on the Kings County Fire Development Fire Station. The tribe will make a one-time good faith payment to the county in the amount of $1,040,000 as soon as this amendment is signed for fiscal year 21-22 and fiscal year 22-23. The amount is budgeted in the current adopted budget, and the tribe will continue to make a good faith payment to the county in the amount of $645,000 each July 1st thereafter if the fire station is not completed and operational. The amendment has been signed by the tribe council and is now coming to your board for approval. So at this time, I request to approve the first amendment for the intergovernmental agreement between Kings County and Santa Rosa Rancheria Tachi Yokut tribe.
Okay, excellent work. I know a lot of people spent a lot of time on that on both sides. So questions or comments from the board?
Nope. Move approval as presented.
Nev seconds.
Motion by Verboen, second by Nevs. Madam Clerk?
Joe Nevs,
Yes.
Richard Valley,
Aye.
Doug Verboen.
Yes.
Rusty Robinson.
Yes.
Richard Fagundes.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, so as we go into board member announcements, we know that yesterday at 8 a.m., our EOC, Emergency Operations Center, was activated, and just due to the time and people that need to get back there in the moment we're in, I'm going to ask the board to be brief, if any at all, on board member announcements just for today. And Mr. Hill, do you mind, as far as board correspondence, upcoming events, information on future agenda items, just submit all that in writing to the clerk for the minutes?
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you. So with that, Soup Nevs?
I can submit mine to the clerk as well.
Thanks, Supervisor. Soup Fagundes? You got anything you want?
Yes, on Wednesday, we had KCAO, regular meeting. Then on Thursday, we had Commission on Aging, and yesterday Supervisor Robinson and myself had Tachi AAA in Visalia. So it was just regular meetings and a lot of good information.
Thank you, sir.
For the future.
Thanks, sir. Appreciate your time. Soup, Verboen?
Helped some of the constituents with the water issues and had a busy weekend.
Soup, Robinson.
Thanks again for Youth Day. My kids, because my nephew was here, also loved it. Also yesterday with Supervisor Fagundes, went to KT AAA, which is the Area Agency on Aging. We continue to try and open up things for seniors. A few challenges, but we're working through it. So.
Thank you. I just want to say continue prayers for our neighbors to the south as well, the people of Allensworth and people of Alpaw for what they're going through right now. And thank you to everyone serving on our EOC and everyone working to do what they can during this time. So with that, thank you, Ms. Hill. And then so the board will adjourn to go into closed session to take up a few items that are noted on the agenda. And we will adjourn and we'll be back Tuesday, March 28th, 2023.